If your adult kids never moved out, or your parents can't afford to live alone, or your family is quietly or loudly outgrowing the home you're in, you're not alone. Multi-generational living is rising fast in America, and it might be the smartest move your family ever makes. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hi, I'm Chris Rainwaters, renegade ritualist and your favorite real estate witch. I help families find alignment between their home, their energy, and their next chapter. And today we're talking about the future of family. And don't worry, even if you're not in my local Southern California market, keep watching. I'm gonna show you exactly what to look for in your own state or city so you can find a place where multi-generational living actually works. You will be able to take what you learn here about North County, San Diego, and apply it anywhere. Because like it or not, the way we live in America, it's about to change. And the families who understand what's coming are going to be the ones who thrive. And in a few minutes, I'm gonna show you the numbers that prove it. Now, I didn't just wake up today and decide to make this video. It started because I fell down a rabbit hole, naturally. I watched this video. It broke down how quickly multi-generational households are rising across the country. And something about it hit me, not in a dreading way, but in a, wait, this makes sense kind of way. Because the day before I had watched this video, that one blew my mind because it showed that compared to the rest of the world, our housing market is actually not as catastrophic as it feels. And somewhere between those two videos, plus all the work I already do with families right here in Southern California, something clicked hard. It made me realize we are entering a completely new chapter as a country, and most people have not connected the dots yet. Let me show you what I saw that convinced me this is real. So let's look at what's actually going on. National rents have not stopped rising since 2008. They've had ups and downs, but the trend is obvious. Same here in San Diego. Rent is moving in one direction. This is why adult kids aren't moving out. And it's why a lot of parents can't afford to live alone anymore. Multi-generational living is now at the highest level since the 1950s. This is not a fringe thing. This is the new normal because the economics have changed, the lifestyle has changed, and the truth is, families are realizing what humans have always known. We're stronger, safer, and more stable when we live together. Combine that with remote work and high financing costs, and families everywhere are making the same choice. Not because something is wrong, I mean, it's not great, but because they finally see what makes sense. And this is where the 50-year mortgage enters the conversation, but not in the way people think. You have probably heard the chatter that the federal government is discussing longer-term mortgages, 40 years, 50 years. Is that a good deal? No, it is not a good deal. But America is built on debt. That is the truth behind the illusion. And as witches, we work with the tools we have. So here is the strategic reality. A longer mortgage gives families something renting never will: time. Time for income to grow, time for families to stabilize, time for the next generation to start building wealth. And yes, you can refinance later, but debt alone isn't the full story. To understand why multi-gen living works, we need to zoom out. It's easy to think multi-gen living is some new trend caused by millennials or the economy, but historically speaking, it's the way humans have always lived. For thousands of years, families lived together. Grandparents, parents, kids, cousins. Independent living is actually the strange thing, a small blip in history created by industrialization and suburban expansion. And this is exactly what I talked about in one of my recent videos about the forgotten connection between energy and home. I'll link that in the description if you want to check it out, because it's a banger. Homes used to be alive with lineage, with continuity, with memory. Multi-generational households weren't a fallback plan. They were how families survived, healed, and built legacy. And if you choose the right area, you can recreate that strength today. So let's talk about North County, San Diego, and more importantly, how to use the same criteria to find a multi-gen haven wherever you live. North County works because it has something that most places in Southern California have lost: space. Space for ADUs, space for gardens, space for growth, space for chickens, and not smack dab in the middle of a desert. By the way, an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. They're called granny flats, in-law suites, casitas, or guest houses. Like, how many names do we need for tiny house? It's basically any secondary dwelling on the same property under 1,200 square feet, at least in San Diego County. So check your local zoning for an accurate size limit and other county or city restrictions. Okay, so you don't have to live here to find this. You just need to know what to look for. The first thing is larger lots. I recommend at least half an acre, depending on your family size and what you're building toward. The second is areas just outside major metros. Basically the suburbs of the suburbs. Close enough to reach things, but far enough to breathe. The next is homes with space between them, not stacked on top of each other. Then you want to look for zoning that welcomes ADUs, because if you can't build on your land, then what's the point? Then you want to make sure you have access to town without living in town. So local markets, gas, recreation, and everyday convenience. Then you want to look for communities with mixed age households, because it creates better local programs, activities, and support. And then cities with rising rent but flat home inventory. It means people want to live there and stability tends to follow. And if you want the full breakdown of why North County outperforms other California markets, I already made that video. It's in the suggested playlist that'll pop up at the end of this video, I think here. Now let's zoom in and look at the 4 main regions families choose for compounds here. First, we'll look at Vista because it's where I live. Vista is the most accessible, the most affordable, and the most flexible. It has older homes, a lot of deferred maintenance, and a lot of longtime owners who simply could not keep up with repairs, which means opportunities if you want to renovate or create a compound. It also has culture, community, creativity, and quick access to everything. The next is Bonsall. Bonsall is the quiet luxury of North County. People call it the Rancho Santa Fe of North County, actually, but without the Rancho Santa Fe prices. It has space, beauty, privacy, and all the views. If your family wants countryside elegance without being totally isolated, this is it. Fallbrook is charming and grounded, but a little less accessible than Bonsall. It is west of the 15, so you're not as far out as Valley Center, but you still need to be comfortable with a slower pace and a little more distance. It is perfect for families who want land, warmth, and community. Valley Center is where you go when you want true rural living. Wide land, big lots, space to build, space to breathe. But let's be honest, Valley Center is isolated and hot in the summer. If you do not like being 20 to 30 minutes from everything, it is not for you. So what does all this cost? Let's talk numbers. These are the median sale prices for 1 to 3 acre single family homes in Vista, Fallbrook, Bonsall, and Valley Center over the last 12 months. Here is what stands out immediately. Vista has the lowest median price. Valley Center looks high, but the lots are bigger. Bonsall is luxury, but still far below Rancho Santa Fe. Fallbrook sits right in the middle. Days on market are healthy for all. Sales to list ratios show real demand. Then look at this. Total sales for 1 to 3 acre homes in the last 12 months. These are not small numbers. Families are buying these homes. And this is where the generational wealth piece comes in. When you buy land as a family, something shifts. You are no longer thinking year to year, you are thinking in decades. And when you protect that property with the right tools, you are creating stability for the generation after you. This is where trusts and homestead protections matter. A trust keeps the property in the family. A homestead, depending on your state, protects a portion of your equity from creditors and can help keep property taxes lower. I'd like to note right here that I am not a lawyer or a tax person, so please consult one of them before you take this as gospel for your state or country or county or in general. Anyway, these are simple things, but they can change everything because the truth is simple. Family is the most important thing. And the second most important thing is having a home where your family can breathe. So let's circle back to the 50-year mortgage. Here's my honest take. Use it if you need it, but use it intentionally. I am also going to note here that I am not a mortgage broker, so consult one that's licensed in your state for the full details. And of course, I have a few excellent ones in my circle that can work in all states if you want helping one that you vibe with. Just reach out to me. Okay, so a longer mortgage is not something to worship or fear. The amount of interest paid in the long run versus the monthly savings is laughably heinous. But look at it this way. It is a tool to buy a home. If a 50-year term is the thing that gets your family onto land, into a home you can build on, and into a position where you can add an ADU or create a compound, then it might be the bridge you need. But the goal is not to pay a loan for 50 years. The goal is to either refinance when rates get better or pay it off well before the 50-year mark, to restructure when life changes. But know that you have the safety of a 50-year lock to figure it out. This is where your payment does not go up. So the key here is to use the tool without becoming owned by it. And since the internet is buzzing about no credit score loans, let's clear that up while we're here too. Lenders aren't making borrowing easier. They're expanding the data that they use. So rent, utilities, bank flow, they're not removing risk, they're reframing it. Every loan is gonna carry risk, but ask yourself something real. Whose risk are you carrying? Banks can hold risk all day long. What most families can't carry is another eviction, another rent spike, or yet another roommate meltdown because the number stopped working. People talk like mortgages are the big scary thing, but rent carries its own risk, constant instability. So decide which risk you want, the structure, predictable kind that you can refinance out of, or the kind that blindsides you at lease renewal. If buying at the just right amount and pulling your resources gets your family into stability sooner, that is safer than gambling your future on the rental market. And when you buy smart and you buy with your people, stability becomes a shared responsibility instead of your private burden. And just as a reminder of the bigger picture, our entire financial system is built on debt. Capitalism itself is mortgaged. Look at the national deficit. So taking on a loan isn't some moral failure. It's about choosing the debt that stabilizes your family instead of the debt that destabilizes it. Because here's the truth. You cannot refinance your way out of rent spikes. For my local Southern California families, I do free consultations where we map out which region makes sense for your needs. If you already own land, we can talk about how to maximize it. ADUs, conversions, layout, contractors. And if you are creating a multi-generational property, my home stewardship circle, Chris Rainwater's Home Services, can help with the practical side. Roofers, electricians, landscapers, builders. These are trusted professionals I send to my own clients. For those of you not in Southern California, use this video as a blueprint. Find these qualities in your own region. I want to leave you with this. For most of human history, families lived together, loved together, built together, and they were stronger for it. Maybe the world is changing. Maybe things feel uncertain, but there is power in choosing each other. And if you are feeling that pull toward a multi-generational home, trust it. This is the moment to do it. I am Chris Rainwaters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about your home and your family. All the links and videos I mentioned are below and in this playlist. I think it's here. Your next chapter starts now.